Welcome to Possibilities.
Possibilities is a program that showcases the talents of persons with disabilities.
It's not the body that does it, but the brain that does it.
Possibilities.
Hello and welcome to Possibilities. Possibilities is a TV program where we showcase the talent, aspirations, fears and courage of persons with disabilities. It is also a program where friends and family of persons with disabilities come to show the aspiration of their loved ones who have a challenge. And in the studio today with me, I have Mr. Vincent Okoye. Mr. Vincent is a person with albinism. He was on our program previously, and he's here today to discuss about the effects and impact of COVID-19 on persons with disabilities. Welcome, Mr. Vincent.
Thanks for having me.
So, Mr. Vincent, we're so glad to have you back. You kept your words. You remember our last program we said we'll surely call you back.
Exactly.
And you're here. Okay, so with the sudden outbreak of COVID-19, which resulted into a pandemic and shutting down of the country, how was it like with you?
Well, seriously, just like it was a sudden shock to everyone around the world.
Okay.
I was not also exempted on that. It was a shock to me as well, and because all the plans I had for the period was messed up, and a lot of programs that you outlined and some visions that you already planned for yourself all was put at hold, and it was really not expected. And well, it's normal thing, but then it was very unexpected because livelihood was affected economically, socially and otherwise. In fact, it was even in terms of mental health, it was in a way disturbing, but to the glory of God, we are surviving it.
Okay. Okay, so the outbreak of the COVID-19 was in so many stages, the early stage, the middle, and the heat of it, which was the total lockdown. How was the lockdown like for you and in general, persons with disabilities?
Seriously, surviving at that moment wasn't easy.
Okay.
Yes, because even in terms of even consumables, what you even eat to even stay alive was even a very big issue. We all know that in this country now, I don't think we have anything like middle class. It's either you are very poor or you are very rich.
Okay.
And I think we're under the very poor category, if you ask me.
Yeah, okay.
So, and if you look at it, sometimes you just have to work hard before you even get something to eat. And based on that, the shutdown of the country made it very difficult for survival, especially even for me, because how much are you earning even in a month? And the lockdown came almost at the middle of the month or getting to the end of the month. Nothing to show how some offices have not even paid salaries. To even see food to buy, sometimes you can notice that even prices of commodities escalated like 100%.
Yeah.
You see something you normally buy for 15 naira went as high as 100 naira, 120. So it was not really easy, and you were asked to stay indoor.
Exactly.
So that issue of indoor was not really very helpful, because in terms of even the physical health, it was also an issue because you didn't get to exercise very well, you didn't get to warm your blood, you didn't get to meet friends, and even emotionally also, especially for some of us that lives alone. Imagine locking yourself, only yourself in the house. Not if there's no light, nothing to talk to, you just be looking at the ceiling.
Yeah.
So it was not really easy. Food was shortened. In fact, sometimes if you normally eat, like me that I normally eat, I love eating, to be frank.
Really?
But yes, but during the pandemic,
Okay.
you just have to count your spoon, because otherwise you don't know when it's going to end.
Yeah.
And at a point, everything got shut. So, but thank God we are surviving still.
Okay, like you said, thank God we are alive.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mr. Vincent, in your own opinion, will you say persons with disability were most affected during the pandemic or the lockdown?
Seriously, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, me looking at it, disability, I wouldn't like to say person you're disabled, but persons with disabilities, face a lot of challenges already, like naturally.
Okay.
Understand? Now, coupled with the situation, which is a general issue, now it comes to be like a survivor of the fittest. So even in a situation where governments say they are sharing palliative in quote, I don't think anybody will respect it because even the government did not make that special provision for preferential treatment for persons with disabilities to be given first. So in such a way, like me, I never struggled for one because I knew I heard son is my greatest enemy. So most of those things you normally see crowd, a lot of queues out there.
Yeah.
So for me, when I know that you can stay there for like 2-3 hours, and you never get what's my if
take home.
out of what quantity even after the whole struggle, you may see one packet of salt, two noodles.
Yeah.
As in, I don't think it worth the risk. So not only me, how about persons with visual issues or fully blind? I don't understand. So normally you need someone to assist you. Now, even the person that will assist you is also hungry.
Exactly.
So he has to eat before he even get the strength to walk up to you and like assist you. So a lot of issues, or with those with Down syndromes, even the caregivers, a lot of people were just not there to help because it's when you are healthy, when you are well fed that you think of someone around you, or when you are okay. When you are ill, maybe even the person helping you is ill, and the person cannot be able to assist you.
Yeah.
You understand? A lot of things just got messed up, and people are not even thinking of the psychological effect of that also. Already there are people with a lot of serious disturbance on the situation. Now, maybe they are more free or they have a lot to eat, they will think less or worry less. But with the pandemic, a lot of thinking comes around, and especially when you ask of help and you didn't get it, it sends a psychological imbalance upon you, and before you know, some people start committing suicide and what have you, thinking of taking their lives. Yet there is no special attention from government, and even some that come around, you see the story behind it. I wouldn't want to comment
Yeah.
much. So,
Exactly. You're
yeah,
right.
so it's really not good, and I think it's still not, up to today, it's still affecting persons with disabilities because even while other people are trying to get out of it, maybe even those that can still walk around their ways, a lot of persons with disabilities who may not be technologically exposed, a lot of them have now lost their job. Yes, because these days now you discover that during the pandemic, a lot of things went technological or version.
Yes.
So it goes a long way. And even some companies that we are trying to help, like employ few persons with disabilities, some of them start retrenching their staffs, and most of them start with persons with disability who they felt might not have much to offer them in quote,
Yes.
which is really not the reality. But had it been as well-playing environment, persons with a disability will still be able to thrive in that aspect and still make a living for themselves.
Okay, so in your opinion, will you say was the government fair to persons with disability during and after this pandemic lockdown and all of that?
I wouldn't, well, to be frank, I don't think government factored persons with disabilities from their initial planning, even when they were trying to make provision for palliative.
Okay.
I still recall that at a point, some leadership within the disability community came up together and started talking to government and ministries to come to their aid. Despite that, there was no significant, even though I can see what I saw was little consideration from philanthropic Nigerians, like
Okay.
private sectors, who tried to also consider those persons with disabilities. But from government angle, what we do here, I don't know, I might be wrong, but basically what I heard, we are making provision, we are planning. That's what I keep hearing. Understand? But I didn't see any concerted effort or something evidential to show that, okay, persons with disabilities were given certain percent of the palliative. You keep hearing we are working on that, we are working on that. And to be frank with you, the issue of persons with disabilities, government has not really taken it too serious, not until thankfully, with the approval of Mr. President for the setting up of National Commission for Persons with Disabilities.
Okay.
So maybe from that angle, I can say maybe, yeah, this is one of the fruits of the period, because maybe based on the noise or effort people made, it's now got to the president to see reason to approve that. But for palliative issues, I don't think it's anything to write home about. But going forward with the commission, I think is a good one. I just hope it will be up and running to cater for the people it's meant for.
Okay. Okay. So, in your opinion again, is there any positive impact of COVID-19 in the lives of persons with disability?
Well, yeah, because everything that has disadvantage in a way, if you look at it very well, it still have its own advantage.
Okay.
Yes. So even though the pandemic is very, very unexpected or was unexpected, in a way, it's also made persons with disabilities to up their games,
Okay.
individually and community as a whole.
Okay.
Because I can still, like I just said, that it's still within the pandemic that Nigerian community of persons with disabilities got Mr. President's appointment of board of directors for disability community or commission. And again, it also brings about persons with disabilities self-discovery.
Yeah.
Because if you notice that before now, a lot of people think, oh, government do this for me, or I need help. This time around, you have to be the help of yourself.
Okay.
You understand? Yes, you have to challenge yourself to get the best out of yourself.
Okay.
The IT exposure,
Yeah.
you should also know that the world is going technologically.
Okay, Mr. Vincent, we'll go for a short break. Don't go anywhere before you continue. Thank you. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching Possibilities, and in our studio today we have Mr. Vincent. Mr. Vincent is our guest, and he's discussing with us about the effects of COVID-19 on persons with disabilities. So, Mr. Vincent, shortly before the break, we're telling us about the possible positive impacts that COVID-19 has on persons with disabilities.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you look at it, like I was saying earlier, that a lot of persons with disabilities, if I'm not wrong, about 75% of persons with disabilities are not actually IT literate.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
Because maybe a lot of us, like looking at some of the challenges around, like even persons with albinism, for instance,
Yeah.
a lot of people fear approaching the computer because of the keyboards, ability to navigate through the keys. Some people find it very difficult, which it is actually for all of us.
Yeah.
It's only feel that if you're determined to make headways around it. And also the screen. So for the visually blind as well, for Down syndrome, for a lot of people with disabilities who have that issue of having that sense of IT savvy. So, but during the pandemic, a lot of things, in fact, for me, for the very first time, I led like a team of training of persons with disabilities on through visual means, which a lot of people we are like thinking, how is it going to work? A lot of us, we cannot see, for the blind or visually impaired, how are we going to navigate through the programs? But with the pandemic, a lot of people get to find out that it's still possible for you to engage visually despite your challenge. Yes. So it's a matter of training and retraining of self. So it also brings about you thinking of other skills acquisitions to do, because it's no longer the time of begging. A lot of persons that will do beg a lot.
Yeah.
So this time around, you think of skills acquisition. What else can you do for your self-sufficiency and the likes? So it's a way of more or less self-discovery and knowing the fact that you can as well do what other people can do if you put more effort. So it's very, very a good thing for us, but not really. You can't compare the disadvantage to the advantage, yes.
Yeah.
Because global pandemic is not something to talk home about, but then it's a way, an eye-opening for all of us in the country. Yes.
So in the mix of it all, at least something positive.
Positive is still there.
Okay, so what advice will you give to persons with disabilities concerning the eye-opener of this pandemic?
Yes, for all of us persons with disabilities, I would like to encourage us to never look down on yourself. Believe on who you are. Think beyond, think outside the box. It's not all about, oh, this is me, this is where I'm limited, the condition. Apart from this, there's nothing I can do. If you didn't help me, I can't exist. No. Think there is really something within you. It's all about self-discovery this time around. Discover who you are, discover the ability, that thing which you love doing.
Yeah.
The more you do it, it can, from fun, it becomes source of livelihood. People get to pay you what you enjoy doing. Sometimes it's not just about the money, but the satisfaction you derive from there and the comfort. The more you do it, it gets to pay you. Look into the IT world. It's really the way the world is driving these days. It shouldn't just depend on housekeeping jobs or stuff like that. Think outside the box. A lot of things goes into IT these days, so keep looking for IT exposure. I'm sure the more you get IT exposure, the less stressful it will become for all of us in terms of getting employment. And never allow people to define who you are. Define yourself by yourself. It's one thing for people to talk, say, okay, this one, it cannot go beyond this. But if you are determined within you, know what you carry, the potentials and the values, people will come to reckon on you and they will respect you, irrespective of your situation.
Okay, Mr. Vincent, you talk so much about IT. So we really need to emphasize on that aspect of our life because going by what has happened and what is still happening, our new normal now is IT.
Sure.
Okay, so I want you to talk more on to persons with disabilities concerning the IT issue. After the pandemic, if at all the pandemic, I don't know if it has gone. I don't actually know. So can you advise us more on what to do with this IT, the positive aspect of using IT always and revealing on it?
Yes. Okay, so like I did mention earlier that everything is moving towards the technology aspect and IT. In fact, a lot of business, and this will also mean that a lot of companies or offices might be disengaging a lot of human labor because a lot of things is going towards technology.
Yeah.
So for those, what it means that those with IT exposure tend to retain their job because they still need IT service to help operate those systems and configure them or maintain them. So, but if you are not IT exposed or savvy, it will really go a long way in putting your job at risk. Be it anyway, even homekeeping. A lot of these, even there are machines that wash plates these days. So a lot of things now, if you're not equipped with some of those exposure, it will relegate you. Now, a lot of people, I know that a lot of issues is around how am I going to cope? How am I going to learn this? That's why I keep emphasizing self-determination first.
Yeah.
You have to determine. Like me, I do say this, when I started, I didn't have any knowledge of IT.
Okay.
But I believe when I finished secondary school, I keep envisioning this, that a lot of things that are now going towards IT. First, I got Android phone. I don't know if the Android phone that I started having full keypad. Not really Android, Symbian phone, they call it, Nokia phone.
Yeah.
So because I knew that keyboard will also be a challenge for me, trying to struggle, squinting to get to learn the keyboards. So I began with the phone, with the Symbian phone, which has a resemblance of keyboard.
Okay.
Yes, so I tried to master those keys because the moment you master them, it will be less stressful for you mastering the standard keyboards.
All
So
right.
by the time I started using them, I now knew, okay, yes, it might be difficult for me to flow with others when they are training people on IT in normal classroom. So what I did is to struggle and get myself a little computer
Okay.
to like train myself on that. So what you do, it helps you all those things. Keep mastering the keys. So it doesn't matter how you see it. What matters is the result.
Exactly.
So be you blind, I know there are softwares that also assist persons with visual impaired or blind to also learn. Even with or even a lot of people, even amputee, the Down syndrome, a lot of us, we have that issue because of my situation. But if you did not dare that situation at that moment, the effect will be more. So it's a risk not to take a risk. Try and see what you can do. Because if you can, for example, now the new job I just told you, I told you I just resumed new work. Yeah, and it's IT and telecom firm. So if I am not into IT, I don't think, I think I saw like 17 people came for the interview. You understand? And I was only one employed. So it goes a long way, yes. So it goes a long way telling us the importance of IT. So we need to keep on pushing. Sometimes you might be learning it, you might be thinking maybe you're wasting your money or anything, but it's equipping you a lot of things. Even if you start the word Microsoft package, just know how to type Excel, how to start with that. Elementary, yes, because at least even secretary work these days you need IT.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you must have that passion. If he's self-taught, fine. Because after then I now went to computer school to balance that, you understand? So, but by then, that confidence issue of shying, keep those ones aside. By the time you say the way I'm looking at it, but when I give you the result, the method does not matter again, it's the result.
It's true, the result that matters.
Yes, so for all of us, please take IT serious. Is the way to go now. A lot of things are going digital, and if you're not updated,
it's a new
you'll
normal.
be out.
Okay, so in one word, just summarize it all to persons with disabilities, the importance, just one word.
The new normal is visual operation. Get IT exposure. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Vincent, this is the much you can take for this episode. Hope when next. We have a lot to do together, so I will keep calling you.
I'm always available.
Okay, viewers out there, this is the much we can take on this episode. You can join us same time, same station on this program. We are open for adverts and sponsorship. You can contact us on the numbers on the screen. I have been your host, Avi Aiki, saying bye-bye.